Hi everybody, this is Justina with JustynaTHandMade. In today's video, I'm gonna show you a quick fun pouch pattern that I created. This is a free pattern, so you don't need to purchase the pattern to create the project. Obviously, you would need to purchase the materials, but all the instructions and supply list and the cut list is provided in the description of this video, so you don't need to purchase or download anything to be able to follow this tutorial. So this is a quick fun little zipper pouch. This is similar to my quickest zipper pouch video if you are already familiar with that pattern. This one we have the addition of the vinyl base, and here we have a split zipper, not the continuous zipper that was instructed in the previous one. Some people wanted to get the instructions or how to use not a continuous zipper, so this instruction will show you how to do it. Also, I want to point out that for this project, I'm using my newest fabric design. This is the Halloween themed design, so you can have those little cute ghosts with the bow tie and spiders in between this cute floral design. So this fabric in this print is currently available on Spoonflower. I will drop a link to the to my Spoonflower profile, so you can just take a look on all the fabrics that are available. Couple of things before we move on to sewing. Please make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. If you have any questions, just leave a comment, or if you are my Facebook group member, you can just write a post on Facebook. This is the quickest way to reach me because YouTube not always notifies me immediately of the comments being posted, so just keep that in mind. Also, if you enjoyed this video, just make sure to give the video a like. That really helps the YouTube algorithm to promote my channel. And if you have any friends that you think would enjoy my videos, make sure to share my channel with them as well. If you would like to support my small business, I have an Etsy store with patterns for sale. So if you want to take a look what's available there, you can follow the link in the description, or you can also use the thanks option on YouTube and leave me some monetary gratitude for the free pattern. And now, if you want to see how this cute little pouch comes together, please keep watching. For the pouch that I'm gonna create in the video itself, I'm using another of my cute prints that are available on Spoonflower, and this is more of a Thanksgiving print with pumpkins, corn, apples, all the good stuff that are associated with Thanksgiving. So if this is something you like, you can also take a look on Spoonflower to grab a piece of this print. And when we are moving on to creating our pouch, we're gonna need 3 cuts of fabrics. So we're gonna have our base that I cut out of a Cork fabric. This one was pretty thin and I wanted to make it a little more stable, so I added some SewFuse Plus as interfacing for it. But if you are using something that it's stiffer, you don't need to do that. You can use vinyl cork, or you can also use waterproof canvas. And if you are using a woven cotton, I would also interface it to give it a little more structure. Then we have our main panel. As you can see, this is the fabric I designed, and I line it with the SewFuse Plus because this is a woven cotton fabric, so I line it to give it a little more body. And then we have our lining. For lining, I'm just using plain woven cotton. I did not interface it. I think it's fine. If you like it stiffer, you go ahead and interface it with some lighter grade interfacing. Also, we're gonna need a zipper, so I have my zipper prepped. I already created one end of the zipper. I'm gonna show you how to do it on the other side. We're gonna be splitting this zipper, so just keep that in mind. Also, I have a little piece cut for my zipper top. You can use, like I'm using, just a scrap of vinyl, or you can use already made metal zipper end that you can purchase. I'm gonna be using some small rivets to attach my zipper end and my back tag as well. As always, I'm going to be using JustynaTHandMade 70 thread. I recommend using polyester or nylon thread so you can melt the ends to secure them. But if you only have a column thread, that should be fine. Just make sure you are backstitching well on the beginning and on the end of each seam. Alright, so to get us started with our project, we're gonna create our outer panel first. So you're gonna take your upper outer panel and your bottom outer panel, and making sure that you have it the right way up. This is non-directional fabric, but if you are using something directional, just make sure you have it the right way up. So that should be the top, and you're gonna put the long edges of the fabrics together and clip. When you have that done, you're gonna take it to the machine and you're gonna sew along this edge with the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. Make sure to backstitch on the beginning and on the end of your seam. When you have the panels sewn together, you're gonna fold your bottom panel over. You can finger press it. I'm pressing it with my fingers because I'm using a cork material, so I don't want to use an iron. And when I have that finger pressed, I'm gonna take the project back to the machine and I'm gonna top stitch along the seam on the cork side of the material, and my seam allowance is behind the cork, so I'm gonna be sewing through the seam allowance and through the cork fabric, and I'm gonna be top stitching with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. Now that my panels are top stitched and now they lie nice and flat, I'm gonna find the midpoint of my top edge. And now I'm gonna be working on attaching my zipper. So, like I said, we need to square off one pair of ends. So this one I already did. As you can see, I'm just folding the fabric of the zipper under 90 degrees, and now I'm gonna use the lighter to melt the edges. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, just fold the zipper tape and take it to the machine and base stitch the folds. Now we actually gonna split our zipper, and we're gonna make sure that we have it set up so our midpoint is on some mark lines, so it's easier to see. We're gonna take one end of the zipper and we're gonna clip it along the edge about 1/4 of an inch away from the midpoint. So you want to make sure that your coils are together with the right side, so your coils are down, and you are clipping your zipper tape along the edge. And now we're gonna mark our tails. So on the tail end of your zipper, you want to mark 1.25 inches. So I have my edge or the side edge of my project line up so I can see the 1/4 and 1 inch, and I'm gonna put a pin to mark that distance. Do the same thing on the other side, so I'm marking 1.25 inches. And now you can also take your project, fold it at the midpoint to make sure that your zipper ends meet in the same point. If they do, you are good to go. If anything needs to be adjusted, just adjust as needed. And now that we have this prepped, we're gonna take our project to the machine and we're gonna baste our zipper tape. We're gonna baste with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length, making sure you are pulling your tail off the seam line on the end. So when your needle is in this point, just pull the tail down and sew a little farther, so your tail it's pointed downwards. And the same here you can actually pull the tail, start sewing, and then sew to attach the zipper to the end. So now take your project to the machine and sew the zipper tape on. Now that we have our zipper base to our outer panel, we're gonna take our lining and making sure they are right sides together, so the lining and the outer panels are right sides together. You're gonna clip the lining along the top edge. Make sure you are keeping the tails out of the way of the seam. And now that you have those two panels, the lining and the outer, put together, you're gonna take the project to the machine and you're gonna sew along this edge with the 1/4 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. Now that our lining is attached, we're gonna flip it over. Again, you can just finger press it, or you can take it to the ironing board. Just make sure you're not gonna damage your cork or vinyl fabric if you're using it. So if you have your zipper seam nicely finger pressed or pressed with an iron, you're gonna take the project back to the machine and you're gonna top stitch only from where the zipper is sewn in to your panels. So it should be about 1 inch and at this point. So you're gonna be top stitching along the zipper from the space of about 1 inch from each side. Make sure you back stitch on the beginning and on the end of the seam. Now that we have that top stitched, we're gonna work on connecting our panels. So take your project, first we want to align our panels where the bottom panel and the main panel meet. So you want to make sure that this is aligned nicely. Then we're gonna align the top. And now we're gonna clip our project on the bottom as well. Now we're gonna repeat that with the lining. Making sure your zipper tails are out of the way of the seam. On the bottom of the lining, we're gonna mark an opening. So I wanna have about 2 inches space to sew on each side, but I wanna make sure I'm gonna mark an opening, my turning hole. So now that we have the project prep like this, we're gonna take it to the machine and we're gonna sew along the open edges. On the lining, you're gonna sew the side edge and little portions of the bottom edge. So you want to make sure that this stays unsewn, that you backstitch well on the beginning and on the end of the opening, because that's going to be under some pressure when we turn the project right side out. I'm gonna start with basing this part of my project, because I want to make sure that this is aligned perfectly when my seam is completed, because that's going to be visible. The secret to having the zipper tail is that here on the top you should try to make it as perfect as possible, but because we're gonna have the zipper, I'm gonna show you. So because we have the zipper end here, it's not gonna be really visible, so you're gonna have something to cover if it's not perfect, but here on the side you want to make sure that it's matching perfectly. So now that we have everything prepped, we're gonna take the project to the machine and we're gonna sew the outer and the lining, and we're gonna be sewing with the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. Like I said, I'm gonna base that little place first, making sure it's not gonna shift when I sew. And if you like, you can increase the seam allowance on the lining from the top to the bottom to give it a little more snug fit inside of your pouch. Now that we have our sides and bottoms sewn, we're gonna box our corners. So I'm gonna take my ruler and measuring from the seam to the seam, I'm gonna mark a 1/2 inch square. On the side where I have my fold, I'm gonna measure from the fold and from the seam. And now that I have everything cut, I'm gonna box the corners. And now that we have all our corners prepped, we're gonna take the project to the machine and we're gonna sew all the corners with the 1/4 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length, making sure we are back stitching well on the beginning and on the end of each seam. Now that we have our corners boxed, I'm gonna just trim my seam allowance a little bit on the outers, because with the interfacing my bottom panel is pretty stiff. So now I'm gonna turn my project right side out. As you can see, I did pretty well. My panels match perfectly. Like I said, I did baste it before I continue with the seam to give me this perfect look. And now we're gonna make sure that our seam on the back is lying nicely. We can press it to set it. Insert the lining to make sure everything is looking good. Obviously, we will have to give the project a little press after we are completed, but give it a once over, make sure everything is looking good. And if you are satisfied, take out the lining, fold the raw edges inside, and clip. When you have that done, take the project back to the machine and sew along the edge to close the opening. I'm gonna be sewing with 1/16 of an inch and 3.5 stitch length. Now that the opening in the lining is closed, you can put the lining inside of your project. And now, last thing for us to do is to finish up our zipper. So you want to make sure that everything aligns nicely on the front. Insert your zipper pull. You might be wondering how come I have this end on my zipper. This is just an end that comes with the zipper from Sally Tomatoes. This is just the first cut, so it always comes with this end. It definitely makes it easy to insert your zipper pull on. But if you have trouble, you can watch my video that I posted instructing on how to insert the zipper pull on the zipper tape. So now my zipper pull is on, and I'm happy how it's looking in the front. I think it's nice and equal. And now I'm gonna install the zipper end. And I think I like my zipper a little shorter, so I'm just gonna trim it to about inch and a half from the edge of my pouch. Make sure it's melted, and I'm gonna use my little tab that I pre-cut. I'm gonna use some double-sided tape to help it hold it in place where I'm install it with my rivets. It's a square. It's a 1 1/4 by 1 1/4, so it's gonna fit either way I fold it. Now I'm just gonna punch a hole and install my zipper end using rivets. And now last thing to do is to give it a press, and afterwards I'm gonna attach my back tack, and I'm gonna show off the final product to you. Our project is now completed. I gave my pouch a press and I attached my back tack, and now my cute Thanksgiving fall theme pouch is ready to use. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you're gonna give the project a go. If you do, please make sure to tag me on social media or to make a post in a Facebook group so we can all admire your creations. Like I said, all the cuts and supplies are listed in the description of this video, so just refer there and get sewing. And if you like those prints, take a look at Spoonflower to see if you would like to grab some for yourself as well. And again, make sure to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, and share it with your crafty friends and family. Till the next time.